This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
Do I use my CoDA program to deal with change? Change is something that is happening all the time. It is such an elemental fact of life that an ancient Greek philosopher said that it is the only constant. Some changes are desirable for me. Some I have to adjust to. I find that CoDA helps me deal with change in the very beginning with something as direct as the Serenity Prayer, which says, "Higher power, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change." Just knowing that, just figuring out, is this something I can change? If not, how can I find serenity in accepting it? And if it is something I can change, what do I need to do to change it? And grant me the wisdom to know the difference. I deal with two kinds of changes in my life. Those that affect me directly are changes I'm going through and changes in the world around me that I have to adjust to. Some of those changes are easier for me to deal with, are desirable. My recovery is the result of changes I've experienced as a result of being in this program, working the steps, using the tools and principles I've learned in this program, coming to workshops and meetings, fellowship, journaling. All of these things help me deal better with the changes I'm confronted with on a daily basis. Changes that happen outside of me that I have no control of fall into two categories for me. Some of those changes don't affect me directly. I'm aware they go on, but I don't have much to do with them. They don't have much to do with me, and I don't have to deal with them a whole lot. Some of those changes happen within my sphere, in my world, and I do have to deal with them. And those are the ones that are more important to me. When I have trouble dealing with changes that are outside of me, when I have trouble accepting changes I cannot change and finding serenity for the changes I cannot change, I reach out to sponsors, sponsees, friends, and other members of the CoDA program that I know to talk about the fact that I'm having trouble coping with something that I can't change. Sometimes just talking about those issues with someone helps me center, focus, and become calm about my experience and able to accept those changes that I'm having more trouble with. Sometimes it takes more than talking about it. Sometimes I have to journal. Sometimes I have to read some particular step or tradition to realize what is important in my life, what are my goals, and are the intentions that I have helping me achieve those goals. I find that this program does help me deal with change every single day. It doesn't help me deal with the fact that as I approach old age, there's some changes I can't do anything about that I have to accept, but I have sometimes a lot of reluctance to accept. I'm almost 80, and there are some changes in my life that have caused me some consternation, to put it mildly. Laughter, something that will help me remember that life is impermanent, that everything changes, and that I'm not doing too bad. All things considered, focus on what's important and what I can do, not what I can't do. Helps me cope with those changes. Other changes in my life that affect me directly, people around me, my companions, my family, birth, death, living conditions, income. Sometimes those changes can cause a lot of disruption or cause me to make changes in my life that I didn't get prepared for. Staying calm, reminding myself that I can do this. Excuse me, John, please turn your camera off. This meeting is being recorded. Thank you. That I am enough for everything that is happening for me today. If I can remember that, if I can stay calm enough and remind myself that I am enough to deal with what I have to deal with today, I'm going to be okay. Does that mean I'll deal with it successfully? Maybe not. But if I don't, I remind myself that it's a lesson that I can use to learn and grow on. And if I do deal with it successfully, then I can thank what I've learned in this program for helping me do that. I can reach out to my higher power, to my guides, to my sponsor and sponsee, and other fellows in this program, because this is not a me program, it's a we program. And I get better when I avail myself of all the tools this program has to offer. That's how I feel about this program and what it, and some of the things it gives to me, and how it helps me deal with the changes I have to cope with every day. I'll mention that this is the first time, this is one of the things that prompted the topic for today, is that this program, Fellowship Forum, has been run for a number of years by the CoDA board. And they have handed this program off to the communications committee, which in turn has tasked a subcommittee of communications known as AVM to host the fellowship forum. I hope that we are able to be as successful going forward as the board was in the past. Look forward to hearing your comments and feedback and suggestions for topics at the fellowship forum email address, all of which I will be putting in the chat once we open the session up to sharing, which I will do now. We ask that people, is there anyone that is willing to be a timekeeper for today's event?
David, this is CoDA, Karen G. I'd love to do that for you. What do you need?
I think we'll ask for a group conscience of 3-minute shares with the opportunity for multiple shares. Is there any objection to a 3-minute limit, time limit for sharing?
May I just, this is Chris, may I just ask, this is my second meeting. What do we share? I'm on another thing about the inner child, so I'm wondering, what do we share on CoDA?
At this meeting, this is the fellowship forum. Did you say Chris?
Chris, I was there last time.
Great to see you back, Chris, and welcome.
Thank you.
This is the fellowship forum, and today's topic is on change and how can I use my CoDA program to help me deal with change.
Okay, super. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the group conscience question is there any objection to 3-minute shares today? I'm not hearing an objection, and so CoDA, if you would time shares at 3 minutes, people can share again and again. But please give other people an opportunity to share as well. Thank you. And the meeting is now open for shares on today's topic, change and how I use my CoDA program to deal with change.
Well, this is Chris. As I said, I'm a newcomer. I was in your meeting 1 week ago.
Hi, Chris.
And
welcome.
hi, thank you. I have been quite ill. I went through withdrawal because Kaiser would not renew my prescription, which I've been taking for over 30 years. And they, there's no reason that, even the doctor wrote them a note and said, please give it to her. And they wouldn't until they said the day that it was completely up. Well, that's not easy. So anyhow, I went through withdrawal about 8 days later, and I became violently ill the whole time, fainting 3 times, hitting my head on the toilet. I cracked some teeth, and I was vomiting, and I did mention this the last time, so I don't want to, take up that kind of time, except that when the ambulance came, I completely don't remember a thing that happened for 4 days, and yet I was told I was functioning and talking and the whole bit. My stomach is shredded. I've been in bed since January, and my husband has Parkinson's, and he's going blind because of glaucoma. So I got a lot of issues, as I'm sure a lot of people do, with my childhood, and my parents did the best they could. But I see now, and it's, I never thought of it. I just thought of, well, it was my childhood, it was something I just did. But I see a lot of stuff now where I had asthma up until about fifth grade, and so I was never in school. Well, I was, but very little. And so I became incredibly shy. I didn't really learn how to socialize or be comfortable, and I was the last kid to be, and I know other people understand this one, to be picked for any kind of team. And I was very thin and sick from the asthma. At any rate, I realize now this CoDA is opening things up to me that I had thought was perfectly normal. And, I just went on living my life. But that being ill for so long made me incredibly shy, very unsure of myself, very insecure. I really didn't think much of myself. And my dad was never home. He was a doctor, and he gambled, and he, we played poker after, he would play poker after he'd play golf on Sunday at the country club. And my mother was a housewife, which at the time I was I thought it was wonderful and I do still, having my mom at home whenever I was home, came home from school or whatever, and I went out with my best girlfriend and all that. Anyway, I am hoping to become much more sure of myself, not being, I've got agoraphobia again, which I had managed to get rid of by going to another meeting a long time ago to another group. And I did quite well, but then things started getting worse and worse. And then being so ill and stuck in bed has brought it all back. I'm afraid of doing anything, going out, and if my husband is so very sick, and I can't handle him because I'm too ill.
30
So
seconds,
I'm hoping,
please.
thank you. I'm hoping to gain my self-esteem back, to put more faith in my higher power. Remember, at like 90%, that he's there to take care of everything, even if it doesn't look like it. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing, Chris. Today's topic is change and how I use my CoDA program to help me deal with change. We are open for shares.
This is Jonathan, CoDA member, and I'd like to comment for a brief moment, please.
Hi, Jonathan. Welcome.
Thank you. Great topic. The change that I'm experiencing through my participation in CoDA, the 12 steps, it's gradual, but it's trending always in the same direction. That is to continue to turn my life over to my higher power and to learn to accept the things I cannot change, I don't have power over. And so that includes a wide range of things, but it gives me a new peace of mind, a new sense of direction, new sense of power that comes from an external source, which is one of the problems with my CoDA. My external sources were the people around me that I depended on in excessive ways rather than depending on my higher power. So it's allowing me to change the obsessive and excessive ways of depending on others to more appropriate levels. And so my inner child is now riding shotgun and I'm driving rather than the other way around. So those are the big changes that I'm experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Jonathan. We are open for shares. 3-minute time. The topic today is change and how my CoDA program helps me deal with change.
I'll take a share.
Hi, Sky. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for the warm welcome. This is a lovely meeting. My name is Sky, and I'm relatively new to CoDA. I came over from another program realizing that CoDA would probably address more of the root issues that I'm dealing with. I want to thank you, David, for your share opening up the meeting. It really gave me some beautiful insights. I have recently been faced with some difficulty in actually another CoDA situation, which is kind of interesting. And what I have come to realize after spending some time in quiet and with spirit is that I do have, I think what I've realized, and with the help of my sponsor as well, is like what's most important is my sobriety, my emotional sobriety, my healthiness. That is most important. And I need to do and trust that I can make right decisions to move forward by looking at, I love how you broke down the prayer in the beginning. I've been saying that prayer for a couple of years now, but I love the way you broke it down and just talked about, like, really, let's think about what that truly means. And for me, I just found that really, really helpful, talking about the idea of I can make a right decision in this moment. And I also have the freedom to change my mind. I also have the freedom to know that there are no mistakes, that I can always learn from whatever happens. And there's just this awareness, this growing awareness in me that, yes, I am enough and I am capable, and yeah, might not always do it correctly, but that's okay, that I can come back and learn from it and hopefully maybe do it even better the next time. So this, it's funny how this just popped up in my calendar, this event, and the timing is absolutely perfect. I'm a strong believer in divine timing. Everything happens when it happens. For my highest good, Spirit always has my back. And I'm just feeling really grateful in this moment. It's given me a lot of clarity. And I'm excited for days to come because I started my journey just around the same time the pandemic started. So I haven't seen anybody, like I haven't been to an in-person meeting. It's all been on Zoom. And I feel very inspired to meet face-to-face with others and to have that fellowship in person. And I see those days are coming for me here in my town. So I'm grateful for that, to continue to grow. And CoDA's it's just really strengthened my journey into wellness and healing and the freedom that comes with that. And I'm just, at the very beginning of the path and just baby steps and one breath and one day at a time. And I feel humble and grateful. And I just wanted to express my gratitude and share a little bit about what's been happening for me. So thank you everyone for listening. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you for sharing, Sky. Today's topic is change and how I use my CoDA program to deal with the changes I'm facing every day. We are open for shares. A reminder to the newcomers, the people who have just entered, that this meeting is recorded and will be posted. The link for the recordings is being put in the chat as I speak, along with the email address where you can send your questions and feedback and suggestions for topic in the next Fellowship Forum meetings.
All shared.
Hi, Susan. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Susan, and I'm a recovering codependent. And I'm facing a lot of issues with change today, just because change seems to be the big topic, even in the world and with a lot of people. But I'm facing a lot of change issues. What I have to do with anything with changes that come up is realize, okay, can I do anything about this? No, I can't. So it's basic for me to go back to my step one. And that's really basically where it all happens for me. And if I can't, and it still bothers me, I've got to take a step back. I've got to disassociate myself, with this, and I have to take a step back and go, okay, what is it that you don't like about this change? You obviously can't do anything about it. So, what is it that you can't deal with? And usually finding those answers will help me, in dealing with it. It's just something that I think I go through, and when I go through this, it's pretty hard on me. So basically, it's for me going back to step one. If I can't do it, I got to just let it go and continue my life, continue working on my steps, continue working in CoDA. Because if I don't, I'm going to take 4, 5, 6, 7 steps backwards. And I don't want to do that, so I've got to, just let it go. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing, Susan. Is there anyone else that would like to share on today's topic, change, and how my CoDA program helps me deal with change?
My name's James Kay, and I'd like to share.
James, welcome.
Thank you for your introduction. It was great. And I love the way you broke it down also. CoDA changed my life. My father worked really hard and for long hours, and we were all afraid of him. And he always told me, today I'm the boss. When you get married and have kids, then you can be the boss. And so I got married real young, and I was the boss. And I was responsible for all the decisions. And I was also responsible for when anything went wrong. And that made me codependent. And I lived my whole life that way. And all the people in my family that I tried to help it was a dismal failure. It was horrible. It was a train wreck. My wife has mental illness, and my daughter had a heart problem, and I lost her 5 years ago. And I just put my son in rehab. But when my daughter passed away, I was able to leave. I left home, and I more or less went to CoDA University. I did all the CoDA program, 24/7. I did it completely and totally, threw myself into it, and I actually became a different person. And recently, during the pandemic, I got to feeling lonely, and I thought, in my heart, I felt I should go home. And my wife still lives in a family home, and I was able to go home and go back with my wife the way she's still the same way she was when I left. But when I look at her now, I see I have control of myself now. I can make my own decisions for myself. Before I left, I did everything she wanted because I thought that would make her happy, and it didn't. She wanted me to be me. She didn't want me to be what she wanted me to be. She wanted me to be me. So I'm back now for like 6 months, and I'm being successful because I can be me, and I can make my own decisions now. And that's how CoDA helped me. And I was away for 3 years, and I that kind of stuff happens on God's time. And it's not quite 3 years, but if I felt in my heart, it's time to go home. And I went home, and I loved her. I still love her like crazy, and she loves flowers and cooking and all the things I love. But sometimes she's hard to handle, and she's got this bipolar and all this stuff going on, schizophrenia, and we
30
have
seconds,
I have
please.
miracle days, days when everything's good. So I just wait for the miracle days, and CoDA helps me wait. And I do my CoDA program, and I help out, and I do service, and I do service in my home group, and I do service in CoDA, and it changed my life, and it helped me see that I am precious and free. And I just wanted to share that with everybody, that I feel my life is a CoDA success story, and I want to be that inspiration for people, and I want to be that most of all, I want to be that inspiration for me. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing, James. We are open for shares. Today's topic is change, how my CoDA program helps me deal with change.
Will share. Hi, I'm Victor. I'm codependent.
Hi, Victor. Welcome.
Um, it's been like I've been in this program for almost 2 years, 2.5 years. Um, it's been an incredible journey of self discovery. But change is from the start. Change was what I needed in my life, and the interesting part is that at the time with my codependency, I was sort of semi-aware that I had codependency traits or the character defects. Um, and as I eased into this program, I started noticing a lot of changes. There were not um, changes that came in right away, but gradually I started seeing the changes in me. And one of the things was the self awareness that um, sometimes when these codependent behaviors came, I was able to see them and to myself and trust that my higher power will take those character defects away. Um, in part, I put a lot of effort into changing, and I still do every day. It's a little bit different, and sometimes it gets difficult. But um, again, I always go back to the steps when there's something missing. When I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I just take a few moments to meditate, and whatever I cannot deal with at the time, then I leave it to my higher power because sometimes I cannot control everything. And at that point, I let go and let God. And that works for me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Victor. We are open for shares. Today's topic is change. How does my CoDA program help me deal with change? We are open for shares. If anyone would like to share again, the topic today is change. How does my CoDA program help me deal with change?
I'll share.
Teresa, welcome.
Hi, I'm kind of new to the program. I've been to a few of these meetings past couple, like once a month, the past few months. But I can relate to this topic on change real bigly because, and I'm hoping to learn through this CoDA program how to deal with it better. Because I don't want to subject myself to change. I still try to just control everything. And so I'm glad to be here to learn about that, and maybe pick up some skills to be able to deal with me not wanting to change. And thank you guys for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing, Teresa.
This is Karen.
Hi,
G,
Karen, welcome.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, change. I'd like to take a share and let me, golly, I don't know what I did. I can't find my timer. So is somebody timing us? Was it me? I the timer?
Yes, I am. Karen, I am timing.
Okay, great. Thank you. I must not need to find it. So thank you. Change. Oh my gosh. That's like, I think something I never want. Ted. I don't even know how to say it. I still have a difficult time with changes when things change, but because of my program and, all the things that make up CoDA, my able to come somewhere and to say that I don't want to change, that really helps me change. Our CoDA prayers, the serenity prayer, acceptance. Of course, there's going to be change. I mean, David, thank you so much for your topic and for the reading. It's inevitable. That's a big word. Change is a little word, but it's bigger than it sounds. So for me as a child, there was no stability in my home. It was always changing. I had several different dads. That changed. I had several different mothers. That changed. I've had several different siblings and families, and things were always changing. When I became a young person on my own, I wasn't even aware of the effects of my childhood on my behavior. And that's, the beginning of my codependency and having to really seek out help for that. So that's a long story unto itself, but I also brought it into my marriages. And I can remember, just being young and married and having a child, and my partner saying to me, let's paint the kitchen. I was so terrified of change. I would just wall up, be like, no. And I didn't say no. Sometimes I just acted out no.
30 seconds.
Thank you, in different ways. So that prepared me for today. I mean, that was 40 years ago. Actually, 53 years ago. That's when my daughter was born. So change to me now is still scary, but I can do it. Keep coming back. CoDA works if you work it. You've got to work it, and it is worth it. Pass.
Thanks for sharing, Karen. We have time for one or two more shares. If anyone would like to share on today's topic, change. How does my CoDA program help me deal with change?
Are you open to second shares?
Yes, we are, Jonathan. Please.
Yeah, I'm still Jonathan. And my second share is that I've been working with my sponsor fourth, fifth, and sixth steps. Well, actually, I'm up to step 8, I guess. 8, yeah, 8 or 9, I can't remember. But anyway, the point being is I was telling him how scared I was to do this stuff. And I don't know if he laughed at me, but he encouraged me to think of the fear instead of excitement, that life is a challenge and an adventure, not a series of defeats to be avoided or fears to run from. So that's a huge change in attitude towards my circumstances and towards the future and towards my outlook, that it's a challenge and an adventure rather than a no-win losing situation, which is what I was kind of looking at change. I was trying to prevent change because I didn't want to suffer the losses that go along with trying new things and being new at something. So, the attitude change of it's an adventure and I'm okay and it's okay and it'll work out. And just be humble and keep my wits about me and do the best I can and be a person of goodwill, and things kind of have a way of working themselves out. So that's a big one, the attitude change from fear to adventure. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. We have time for one more share. If anyone would like. I see a hand up from Anne and Irvin. Yes. Did you want to share or did you have a question, Anne? Anne and Irvin?
Yes, hello. Yes, my husband and I, Anne and Irvin, but I go by the name of Anya. And the topic today is change. I am fairly new to the program, about a year and a half. I was familiar with the full program, but not until COVID did I start using the steps and attending on Zoom meetings. Change, something I also feared, as previous speakers spoke about constant change and inconsistency in early childhood. That was my case. Now, I'm an adult. I'm old, 74. My husband is 80. And by working the program since start of COVID, I see changes in my attitude and accepting reality for what it is. I still become angry, resentful, and sad, but I'm aware of it because that goes back into my childhood. So, as an adult, a senior, grandmother, I came to realize how important this program is for my life. But it's almost like oxygen, no doubt. The breath is important. My seeking and looking for higher power is a search in my life on a daily basis. So I see the parameter has changed towards spiritualism rather than material goods, no doubt, and other things. I feel grateful even though I feel sad today. The reason I'm sad is my mother, who is 98 years old, doesn't acknowledge me. She didn't want me to start with. And my brother took off with his wife for 6 weeks. So I am in charge of my mother, who is an assisted living facility. And she is very glamorous in her ways and requires attention all the time. And when I did see her the other day, she was cold, dismissive, and pushed me away the way she did as a child. Now, the topic again is change. I have to change. She won't. My brother will not, so I have to. I'm in gratitude for the wisdom of the program and the fellowship. Thank you. I'm in Los Angeles, and I am so happy to attend this particular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing, Tanya.
My pleasure.
That's all the time we have for sharing. The meeting will continue on in fellowship after the recording is stopped. I have a few announcements to make before we close the meeting. Next week's meeting will be Saturday, June 26th at 12 p.m. noon Pacific time, 1 p.m. Mountain time, except for most of Arizona, 2 p.m. Central time, and 3 p.m. Eastern time. Hope we can see you then. The topic next week could be focused around the upcoming CoDA Service Convention that will take place the last week in July 26th to the 30th. I have put a couple of links in the chat, how you can send an email with your questions and comments. Please send them to ff@codependence.org. That's the letter F twice at codependence.org. There's also a link in the chat for where you can. Hi, Noreen. Please turn your camera off. We are recording. Thank you. Welcome, Noreen. We're wrapping things up. You're welcome to stay for fellowship. The link for the recordings is also in the chat. We'll close the meeting with the closing prayer, which I will put on the screen so that we can all say it. Anyone who wants to say it is welcome to join in. Begin with a moment of silence, followed by the closing prayer. We thank our higher power for all that we have received from this meeting. As we close, may we take with us the wisdom, love, acceptance, and hope of recovery. I thank everyone for their shares and for coming to this meeting. It really has been mind-expanding experience for me. Thank you all for your service and participation. Have a great week and hope to see you again next month.
Thanks, David. God bless you.
Thank you, David.